All right, we are live talking about a day in the life of a pro DM and TTRPG creator. Let's go, guys. I think my audio is sounding good. I think we're good to go. Blue Rose Lions in the house. Hello, Blue Rose. Drop a comment. Let me know who all is in here. Live stream crew rolling out. It's time to get down to business. Talking about some different stuff today, guys. We're living the life every single day. Aretha Co. Hey now, how's it going, Aretha Co? Dirty Socks in the house. Sound is solid. Heck yeah, we're getting there. Stewart's in the house. Let's go. Heck yeah, good to see everybody. Happy Friday, guys. Paul Bird's in the house. What up? Hello, Paul. Great to see you. Artemis in the house. Super pumped for the games coming up this weekend or this next week, guys. Got 2 games on Monday, got a game on Tuesday, got a game on Wednesday. Super pumped, getting ready to maybe roll out a 5th game, but it's going to be special. It's going to be different. It's going to be something way different. Keep an eye on the Discord. This one will not probably be going through my normal channels. It's going to be something way different, guys, way off the beaten path. I'm very excited about it. Drop a comment. Let me know who is all in the chat. I'm super excited to get into this. Drop your questions, drop your comments, drop your queries. Give me a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. Give me that YouTube juice. Dirty Sock says hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Don't forget to sign into the Discord channel. Absolutely. GM Philosophy Discord. Link is in the description. Do not miss it. We are over 600 GMs strong, I believe, now. Let me double check the official numbers, which Dirty Socks is ahead, one of the lead moderators and counselors in the channel. Super, does a super awesome job. Guys, we are at 611 members. Holy crap. Bert says, hey, y'all. I remember when there were 6 members in the GM Philosophy Discord. I think Dirty Socks was one of them. I think Dirty Socks was one of the 6 first members. Excellent. I'm so happy, everybody. Thank you so much. So grateful. Stewart says Dirty Socks does so much. I think he works harder than GMP. I think he does too. I think he's also probably smarter and better looking. Really solid dude. There's we've got some live streams back a little ways where Dirty Socks is literally on the live stream, guys. Mir is in the house. How's it going, Mir? Mirrored in Whitefall. All right, guys. Make sure you check out the links in the descriptions. Grab my book, The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery. But let's get into this topic. Okay, so here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the business and day-to-day aspects of the pro GM stuff and the content creator stuff. Herminator's in the house. Herminator, haven't seen you in a while, my friend. Good to see you. Dirty Socks says smarter, maybe. Handsome, not so sure. That's awesome. Mir says, good, just heading out to work. Heck yeah, Mir. I hope you get to listen in at least. If you're driving, don't be watching that video. Watch the road, my friend. We cannot have you get in an accident. Kayla says, yeah, I get to catch another stream listening while driving. Heck yeah, Kayla's in the house. Kayla, a.k.a. Nira, Wednesday night crew rolling out. Love it. All right. Super happy to see everybody in the chat. All right, guys, we're going to talk about this. Okay, so this is going to be. I don't know if anyone's going to care about this stuff, guys. This is going to be the business side and the day-to-day life side of kind of like what I'm doing. And the reason I'm making this, guys, is because I want to empower game masters to run better games. And I'm getting more into the pro games side of things for some people. Some GMs want to go in this direction. Not everybody wants to. Totally understand. There is no requirement that you want to be a paid GM to be awesome at the hobby, guys. There are definitely 2 roads to go down. We have our GMs who do the real work. They're running games for friends and family, running games at the local game store, even running games online, not getting paid for it. They do a lot of extra work, guys. They deserve all of our appreciation. This is a mission. You are empowering your players to tell the story of their characters in a powerful way. This is amazing. I also believe there's a paid pro GM route, and this is valid. I believe that GMs do a lot of work, and I believe that if we want to elevate the craft, guys, we need to get more familiar and more friendly with the concept of the pro game master because it is a lot of work. And if we have really good game masters out here, then they're only going to be able to run so many games for so many players if they do not have it help them pay some of their bills, guys. Pay some of their bills, pay some of their expenses, guys. Electricity is getting expensive out here, guys. Have you seen the price of gas, guys? It's not getting any cheaper to make it out here. Therefore, if we want to elevate the craft, then we need pro game masters. We need them to enter the scene. We need them to be compensated for their valuable work and time contributing to the hobby. We need them to be able to put more time and effort into the craft so that they can run for more players, right? This is the only way to make it viable. If we have a really great GM and they're running for 4 players, it's awesome. But they could be running for 24 players or 54 players if they can run more games. This means more people playing awesome games. And when we have GMs who are dedicating themselves full time to the craft, guess what happens? The craft elevates. They become better at the craft. They become better professionals. And then they are empowered to take the hobby to entire new levels, right? Because the truth is, the more hours you spend on a thing, the better you get at this thing. And a great GM might be able to spend 8 hours a week running one game, but they also have to work their job. They have to take care of their dogs. They got to pet their puppies. You know what I'm saying? So then they can only progress in the hobby that much. But what if you have a GM who can do this 5 days a week because they're getting paid to do it? All of a sudden, you have someone who's able to progress the craft for 5 8-hour days instead of 1, right? Let's catch up with some of these comments. T-Dog says, listen and drive. I like the topic. Heck yeah, T-Dog. Great to see you in the chat. Mikey B says, ugh, I'd love to be able to dedicate more time to the craft. Not as many hours in the day as there used to be. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Dirty Sock says, Stuart, trying to get things done when I have time. Appreciate your shout out. Heck yeah. Mikey B says, family and work aside, having multiple hobbies doesn't help. Yeah, it is true. Time don't grow on trees these days, does it? Time don't grow on trees, man. All right, so with that being said, that's my thesis on why I believe in pro GMs. And that leads into what does a day look like in the life of someone doing this, guys? Right now, it's been since March 1st. I left my job and I jump in to do full-time pro GMing. Also, I have the YouTube side of it. So the YouTube is monetized. I do make money through that. And I publish products and I sell products, books, most specifically, which you can find links in the description to all my books. But this is what I want to talk about today. The business side and a day in the life side. Herminator says, how do I combine a job welding with a D&D hobby? Easy. You weld D&D cool stuff. You weld little metal dice boxes. Heck yeah. Can you imagine how metal that would be? And then you do artwork on top, little arcane glyphs. That would be metal. Metal AF. I love it. Mikey B says, congrats on full-time GM. John, thank you so much. However, it's not like, oh, yes, I finally achieved this. It's more like every day I do a crazy amount of heavy lifting to get to like barely get by in the first month. Every month is going to get better. And I look at the stats. I'm going to talk about that today. But it's not like I achieved something. It's like, oh, I finally stepped onto this plateau. No, it's more like I spent months strategizing, trying to build up ahead of time, made the decision, left the JLB, taking great risk because there's no guarantee it's not going to flop, guys. There was a very good chance I was going to go crawling back to my job, all beat up, bloody from a failed attempt and say, can I have my job back? This is always a possibility, guys. The only reason the business goes every day is because I put in serious grunt work. And I'm going to share that with you today. I put in some serious grunt work, guys. Let's catch up with some of these comments. AWOL Warrior says, it's a constant struggle to prep for just one campaign. Too much adulting in the way. Absolutely. Talk about that, man. I have to do my taxes. Man, I've got to get my taxes done literally coming up. Man, if not this weekend, it has to be next weekend. I've got to do these taxes. The IRS is going to come knocking at my door, guys. They're gonna show up with their dark sedans and their sunglasses, and they're gonna be like, Mr. Anderson. That's what's gonna happen. Oh, I don't know. I do not want the smoke from the IRS, guys. Mikey B says, when I was an 80s kid, I dreamed of doing RPG stuff for a living. But back then, it just wasn't a thing. No, you're right. It's a more new thing. It's emerging now. Paul says, start a side hustle and grow it. Will probably be lots of up and down, but keep going. Follow your passion. Ain't that the truth? Lots of up and down is 100% true. Mikey B says, full-time GM, yeah, I bet there's a ton of constant heavy lifting just to pull off a 3 to 4 hour session. Well, there is, but then there's also all the YouTube side of it, which I'm going to talk about, and the product side of it. So it's not just the D&D stuff. Plus, got to be marketing out here. We got to be marketing. Herminator says, maybe if I ever get a welder set up in my garage, little D&D crafts. Herminator, listen, here's what you do. You go YouTube and TikTok, right? Welding cool D&D things, put these things on Etsy, share reels of your cool things you make, sell them, like literally sell them through Etsy. Boom. This would be, I'm sure that you're a very good welder. I feel like this would not be difficult for you at all. You're a very likable person. You've been literally in the live streams. Like, guys, if you go back in time a little bit, Herminator has been on several live streams. Awesome person. I have a feeling, Herminator, you could make that work. Mikey B says, Herminator, if I had a welder in my garage, I'd probably make more progress in my project car hobby. Oh, God. Talk about a time-consuming hobby. I feel like that'd be very time-consuming. Dirty Socks says, Mike, are you going visually or in-game? Anyway, all right, here we go. I'm going to dive into this, guys. I'm going to take a little break from reading comments, and we're going to dive into this because I want to share this value with you. Okay. Let's talk about this. I wake up. Okay, I wake up in the morning. Now, it depends on what day it is, what I have to do. But here's what I've learned. So right now I have four pro games going, 2 on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, and 1 on Wednesday. These games are almost full. In fact, I onboarded 2 new players literally in the last 48 hours. This is awesome. Both from Start Playing. And so this is really cool. And the first priority every day is the games, providing a good experience for the players in the game. So this means that today, for the first part of my day, I spend a lot of time messaging players, posting polls in the Discord for the games, for player of the game, counting storyline points and updating the totals, putting session raw transcripts and then story notes in the chats, posting updates, posting my outline document where I ask the players to fill in their primary, secondary, and fast track goals for the next session, right? I post this in there so I can prep for the next session, but we got to get it posted early in the week because by the time Monday gets here, guys, it's too late. I'm running games. There's not as much time to prep. I have to prep in the second part of the week. Today's Friday. I got to prep over the weekend, guys. We got to get that prep in, and I want to know what the players want to do. So this is the first priority every day. Second priority is working on products, because if I never release new products, my product sales are going to dwindle because, you can only sell so much product and you want to release updated products. So right now, the book that I'm focusing on, which is, I think, my best product for GMs who want to run better games, is The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery. Link to this is in the description. This is basically a book. This is an ebook all about building emotional resonance in your games. This is really important. This is the best thing I've ever written. 50 pages, 24 years of running games packed into 50 pages of wisdom on how to run emotionally resonant games that'll keep your players coming back and wanting more. So this accounts for a pretty significant portion of my income. If I don't sell books, guys, my life gets really difficult because running games provides a certain amount of money in my day-to-day life, but it does not provide me with enough money to live full time. It does provide me with a significant amount of upfront cash. However, running games alone at the price that I'm running them is not, like 4 games, it does not qualify as a full-time job, like monetary wise. Maybe if I was running 8 games, but the 4 is different. It's good, but really the deeper value of running the games is that I'm in the trenches, actually running games, perfecting my craft, and then talking on YouTube. Okay. Now, So far today, I have worked on, and which I'm going to show you. Can I show you guys? You want to see my new book? I'm going to show you a preview of my new book, guys. It's turning out so good. I'm just going to show it to you right now. It's not out yet, but I'm going to show it to you because it's amazing. And I'm so happy with where we're going with it, guys. This is going to be this book is going to literally be the follow-up to this for the pro gamers, but it's also I'm starting to stuff a lot of game wisdom into it that doesn't even need to apply to pro games. I'm going to show this to you. Okay, here we go. Don't tell anybody. No, I'm just joking. Tell everybody. Here's what it is. The GM Philosopher's Paid GM Guidebook for GMs who want to run paid games on Start Playing. Unofficial, not affiliated with Start Playing. Got to keep the lawyers happy, guys. We got to keep the men in black from showing up at my house. They're going to show up and be like, Mr. Anderson. That's what they're going to say if I don't watch my legal jargon. A practical field guide for getting booked, running great paid games, and keeping players. Okay. And I mean, so far, look at the topics we're going to cover in this book. Part 1, before you charge anyone, we got to talk about this. Should you even be a paid GM? Your first goal is not money, it's legitimacy. Then we have part 2, getting booked on Start Playing, building a profile, choose a game idea that I'll actually sell, write a listing that converts curiosity into bookings, pricing without guesswork or panic. Then we have part 3, delivering a paid experience that feels worth it. This includes onboarding players like a pro, character creation that lowers friction, running the kind of session people rebook, in other words, keep coming back to. And then we have part 4, retention, churn, and player satisfaction. A chapter on why players leave paid games, a chapter on the retention systems that changed my games, chapter on quiet players, stronger spotlight, better tables. And then part 5 is the part I'm working on right now, building something sustainable. So we're working on it, guys. It's going to come out next month, but that is the preview of the project we're working on. So I got to work on that for like an hour a day, at least 2 hours, because if I'm not working on new products, guys, the production line stops, and I'm not going to have any new books coming out, and it's going to hurt my bottom line. So if I'm not on top of that, guys, it's not going to work. I'm not going to make it, especially at the level I'm at. I'm a little creator. Every dollar makes a massive difference. Stuart bought me a coffee yesterday, which if you want to buy me a coffee, links in the description. But Stuart literally bought me a coffee. And that helped me so much because that particular day, I didn't actually sell any books. So that coffee money actually added up to big for me as a little creator. I'm not making a ton of money out here. Right now, it's survival and building, but we are still in month number 1, right? It's going to get way better as we go, especially if we keep adapting, learning, evolving. Okay. But anyway, so worked on the book today, worked on it for a good hour and a half. Then it's time to start working on content. So I try to live stream 5 days a week. In fact, my new live stream schedule, I think, is going to be Tuesday through Saturday, because live streaming on Mondays is very difficult because I have 2 games. So I live stream, and I do like a half hour to an hour live stream. So what I've been doing is taking my live streams and chopping them up into shorts. Do you know how many shorts I publish every day? Let's say I publish, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I publish 11 shorts a day right now. That's the goal. I don't always meet it every day, but that's my production line. That when I'm publishing 11 shorts a day, that actually gets my views up to where they kind of need to be for me to get enough views to then sell enough products to be able to pay my bills. So that's where we're at. And I am a smaller creator. So right now I have to push it because my posts and my videos don't get, a crazy amount of views. In the future, the more views I get, the more I will be able to kind of like ease up on that a little bit. But right now, if I don't publish, I just don't get views and then I don't get sales, right? So that's how it goes right now. And I have to keep that production up. So every day I have to make sure to do that. And when I don't, I really notice it. It hits my bottom line hard. Like if I don't publish like I need to. I also try to publish one long form video every single morning, have not always been making that, need to make that because that accounts for a serious amount of my more like retained viewership. Now, it also helps me market my paid games. And this is a really good thing because when people join my paid games, there's very good synergy. I run the paid games, get great content for YouTube, and then I publish YouTube videos, helps me market my paid games. This is very good, but it also just makes me sharper. It makes me a better GM. But the content creation part is a lot of work, guys. So with that being said, today I have been working on shorts, create, publish, create, publish. Well, I actually schedule. So I schedule them in advance, but I chop up my live streams for that. Now, I have in the past tried editing down my live streams to make videos. I'm going to be honest with you, the labor curve on that is crazy high, and I don't think it's worth it because the live streams are already out here. People can watch them. So re-releasing them as an edited video, it is incredibly time labor intensive. So I don't think I'm going to do that. Here's what I think I'm going to do instead, because we get so much valuable content in these live streams, especially when people ask questions and we talk about that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating outlines for new videos based on the live streams, and I'm going to record long form videos based on live stream topics. And then we can make them more concise. Like I like to make my long form to the camera videos, my talking head videos. I like to make them somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. This is very reasonable to do, I think, and is a reasonable amount of time for people to watch. And then the long streams are longer. So that's like the long form content people can watch if they really want to listen and, hear the long form stuff. But guys, the content game is we got to be aggressive at the content game, because if you're not publishing enough content, you're not going to get the eyes on your brand that you need in order to make it in the business. And that's the content marketing game. But I am also new to it because this is the first month I've been back full time. So I have to do a lot of heavy lifting right now. Whereas every month it's going to get easier because naturally my platform will grow if I'm doing it right at all. Like, unless I'm just messing it up, doing crazy stuff. So that's a big part of what it looks like on that end of it. Now, here's my question. Is there anyone in the chat who's thinking about maybe becoming a pro DM? Is there anyone in the chat who's maybe thinking about becoming a TTRPG YouTube creator? Drop a comment. Let me know if you have thoughts about this. And if you have questions, ask them. I'd love to talk about them. But I want to catch up with some of these comments, some great comments going here. Let's see here. Let's see. AWOL Warrior says, we have a guy in my area who makes awesome custom D&D tankards. He sells them through local game stores. There's certainly a market for homemade swag. 100%. Stuart says, the book is so amazing. Oh, Stuart, I think is talking about the Advanced Art TTRPG Game Mastery. Thank you so much, Stuart. I appreciate that. Says the book is amazing. Yeah, Advanced TTRPG. I use one of the notes in that book as the primary quote on my Discord channel. Every failed roll is an invitation, not for punishment, but for complication. Yes, I love it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Kayla says, woo, good to see you. Thank you, Kayla. Dirty Sock says, Mikey, thought you said, oh, they're having a conversation between each other. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So there we go. We caught up with the comments. Herminator says, I'd love to be a pro DM, but I'm afraid that would put too much pressure on me to perform versus having fun. Okay, that's actually a really good thing to bring up. Let me talk about that for a minute. I used to worry about that. And then I started my real serious pro GM journey in January. And in February, that happened. I thought to myself, I hate this. I hate this crap. People keep leaving games. This is stressful. This is stressing me out. How are you supposed to make this happen when you have people jumping in and then leaving and then people complaining about things and blah, 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 right? And I really actually faced the thought of, I don't want to do this. This sucks. I really had that moment. But then, let me tell you about that. I pushed through it. I was like, okay, here's what I really need to do. I just need to figure out what problems are happening. What problems are keeping me from enjoying this process? What's keeping me from enjoying it like I would enjoy it on any normal day? And then I just identified the problems. I started solving them one at a time. How do you solve problems? You identify the problem, you analyze it, you come up with a hypothesis for why it might be happening, you deploy a solution. See if the solution works. If the solution works, solve the problem. If it doesn't work, you go back to the drawing board, form a new hypothesis based on the new data, and you launch a new solution. And then you keep doing that until you solve the problem. Does this require a lot of work? Yes. Yes. Does it require a lot of thought power and focus? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes. If you care about something and you really want to do it and it matters to you, it is worth it. So I started solving the problems. And about the time March 1st came around, I was like, you know what? This isn't so bad. A lot of the problems I was having running pro games that made it hard for me, that made it not enjoyable, I've kind of started solving them. And now I'm getting back into it. And this is especially true, guys, when you go in with an abundance mentality, because when you go into games thinking, oh, I need to make a bunch of money, I need to get this money, I need every player I can so I make a bunch of money. Like, this is a scarcity mindset. And this is going to keep us stressed. It's going to keep us upset. It's going to keep us afraid. But when you go in with an abundance mentality and you just say, look, I'm good at what I do. And I believe that if you're good at what you do, if you project value and you create quality and you actually improve life for everyone who comes around you, then what's going to happen is people are going to line up to want to do that thing with you. This is true in dating, guys. This is true at the game table. This is true in your relationships. This is true at work, in your professional life. This is true making friends. And this is called abundance. And when you focus instead on delivering value and being amazing, and when I say being amazing, you don't have to be perfect or be a rock star. It's about caring and trying and really doing your best. Most humans don't do that for anything in their life. Most humans do not care and actually try and actually do their best at anything in life. Tell me I'm wrong. I dare you, because I think I'm right about that. Most humans don't apply that to anything. Look around you. Tell me if you see that the humans around you are doing really most of anything, actually caring, actually trying, actually doing their best. It doesn't happen very often. And the reason it doesn't happen very often is because people hedge their bets. They don't want to give too much and then be taken advantage of or have their time wasted. They don't want to give so much because they don't feel like they're getting anything in return. The key is to pursue something that matters so much to you that you're willing to do all those things just because you care enough. And then that's when you create abundance, and that's when value comes to you. That's when money comes to you. That's when friends come to you. That's when awesome dating partners come to you. That's when the best job opportunities come to you, whatever it is, right? Dungeons of 20s is in the chat. Hey, William, how's it going? Hello. Mikey B says, Herminator, I hear that. I think what holds me back is the time commitment. I would want to dedicate more time to it than I should. This is understandable. Okay, so there's my little dissertation on scarcity and abundance. Herminator, great thought. And I was just kind of answering because I had the stress of that in February. But then by March, I got it lined out. I started solving the problems and I started embracing more abundance. I dipped into a scarcity mentality in February because I was afraid. I was like, oh no, this is not going good. I'm failing. And this caused me to jump into scarcity. But then I was like, no, stop. We got to go to abundance. How do we go to abundance? We got to get better at the craft. We got to dig deep, be awesome, produce great experience for people, actually care, stop worrying about all the other stuff. Stop worrying about the money. Stop worrying about, some people aren't a good fit for your game. Stop worrying about that. All these things, right? So I had to stop worrying about that. And then we start embracing abundance. The same thing is true on YouTube. The YouTube is the exact same game, abundance and scarcity. There's also a skill element to it, just like there is in running games. William says, does that mean I care about D&D? I got so many books I'm working on. I legitimately believe you care about D&D. It's obvious that you care. This is why players tend to love your games, I think. Players love your games. You tend to get very loyal gamers who want to game with you. And I think if you were advertising your games more, you'd probably get way more games going if you wanted to, right? But that's the quandary. Is that what we want? This is something every GM gets to decide. And I'm not trying to say every GM needs to have a bunch of games. You should do what you want to do. However, I do believe there's a market for pro DMs out there. I believe there's a market for people who want to do this as a living, but you're probably gonna have to synergize it with something else, because I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Running pro games and just living on that money is gonna be a hard road to hoe. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a rough time out there, guys. The money ain't that good. I'm thankful for it, but it's not like something that's gonna make you rich. And it's hard to scale because you still have to trade hours of your time for dollars coming in. Whereas the YouTube game, the content game, is different. For that, you're scaling attention. Because today I put in a certain amount of time to get so many views. But if I keep going and I build my platform, then 3 months from now, I can put in that same amount of effort, but I might get 10 times the views. Thus, I'll make 10 times the money for the same amount of time. It's more scalable. It's infinitely more scalable than running pro games. This is why I believe the YouTube game and the paid games, it synergizes so well. And I love it because the paid games give me so much fuel for my YouTube channel. And then I can turn around and actually do a good job on the YouTube, actually talk about D&D as someone who's doing it, running it, not hypothetically, right? Let's see here. Dirty Sock says, gotta go and bring my oldest to his bed, reading The Adventure of Carib and the Kind Troll and Knight Ragnar, adventuring the heck out of ChatGPT. See y'all later. Have a good one, Dirty Socks. Thanks for jumping in the chat. Dungeons and 20s, William says, I'm thinking of getting 5 games going again, but I think my path is going to publishing now, getting a team going for it. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I love it. You create awesome stuff. All right. So with that being said, guys, we've talked about a little bit about the day-to-day stuff. There's the games, the YouTube, and then the products. Okay. Let me tell you this right now. Art to running games that players enjoy, that retains players, right? D&D games. There's a deep art to this, and it is in your best interest to know, right? It's in your deep interest. It's in your best interest to know how to do it. We need to perfect the craft, and it's really important to know that we can always improve at something, and there's always another level of mastery we can attain. Okay. So with that being said, this is a constant game of launching, analyzing, adapting, evolving, solving problems, getting better at the craft. We have to do this. When you launch paid games at first, it's not going to be perfect. It's probably going to be messy. You're not going to do it perfectly. You're going to lose players. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. Same is true of TTRPG YouTube, D&D YouTube, whatever, any kind of YouTube. But I'm talking more specifically about that because that's what I meant. You know, there's a whole art to succeeding at YouTube. Do you know what's amazing? Do you know what's really amazing? The YouTube art is not always common sense. There are a lot of people, guys, who try to give me unsolicited advice in my YouTube comments. That is very bad advice. The truth is, if I listened to everything everyone said in my YouTube comments, my YouTube channel would never have made it to this point. It would have failed a long time ago. I have to be the kind of person who investigates the craft of YouTube and then learn how to filter out the good, because some comments do help the channel, but then some comments lead in the wrong direction. So I need to learn to filter those well. Okay. So when I'm creating content for YouTube, I need to also be educating myself about YouTube every single day. This is another thing I do, guys. While I'm doing dishes, while I'm cooking, while I'm taking care of my dogs, I'm putting on Gary Vaynerchuk podcast, digital marketing podcast. Sometimes I'm listening to the Think Media podcast. Sometimes I'm listening to Diary of a CEO if he's got somebody on who's like relevant to what I'm doing, because I want to learn as much as I can about the YouTube game. The YouTube game has its own craft. It's its own skill set. And the more you learn about it, the better you can do at it. This is true of everything in life. But we can't just launch and think, oh yeah, now I'm going to do this professionally. It's more like launch, struggle hard. Hopefully you're barely good enough to get your bills paid. And then you build, because now you're in it full time you can test, you can analyze, you can solve problems, and then you have to be planning. Like right now, I'm making a big plan for the month of April because I have to do better in April than I did in March. This is the nature of business. You have to keep moving upward. You have to keep progressing. You have to keep pushing to the next level of mastery. This is true in my games. It's also true on YouTube, and this is true of my paid products. So it's really important to do all this. Let's catch up with some comments here. Buckaroo says, look up Vocation by Samuel on Weir in one of his books. And a great society, people can do what they are the best at, what their calling is, matching what their talents and abilities synergize. We're not at that level where everybody can do that perfectly, but I was given some great advice when I was younger. And from that book, incorporate as many elements of what you're best at. This is actually very good advice. I am aware of what you're speaking about. We all have natural proclivities. We all are naturally good and talented at certain things. This is the truth of it. Some of us are born with like stats that are higher in one and lower in the other. This is how it is. Nobody has maxed out stats and everything. Everyone's kind of good at some things and not so good at other things. So we have natural talent, right? But then maybe we have the things we love. So this is another element of it. Then there's the serendipity of our experience. We've experienced certain things that have given us life experience in certain ways. And then there's opportunity. What people will pay for because it helps their life. And we find the intersection of those things. This is the best opportunity for us as humans to pursue like a place in this world in business, or as a professional craftsman, or as a vocation. This is exactly what Buckaroo is saying, Buckaroo Banzai. Vocation is a great word for it. Arethico says, time is a huge issue. Balancing job, family, etc. keeps me from progressing my business as fast as I would like. Yes, no, totally. It's hard to balance those things. To a point, you've got to be a little crazy, and you've got to be really you've almost got to be ruthless with your time if you want to succeed at anything that's like craft based, like where you have to learn a skill and progress it. And then marketing there's just so much heavy lifting to be done, so much grunt work to be done, unless you can bankroll a team. I mean, I can't bankroll no team right now. So it's like, maybe when I get to a point, I'll hire an assistant, but we're not there yet. So I'm doing it all myself, right? You are totally, that is valid. Buckaroo Banzai says, what is meant for you into what you do, into the type of work you do. So the most important thing vocation-wise is to find what you are really great at. You have to take an inner journey, 100%. Kayla says, I'm lost. Gotta go. I'll have to catch the end when you upload the video. Take care, everyone. Take care, Kayla. Great to see you in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Paul Bird says, it's an adventure, trial and error, and you earn experience and level up without even knowing it. 100%. You do level up. And here's the thing, though. A lot of people, guys, and this is the hard truth of it, a lot of people quit. A lot of people quit when they've hit a hard spot. They quit when they've gone down. They get knocked down. It hurts. They take a lot of damage. This is a D&D metaphor, but this is also real life, guys. You get knocked down. You get beat up. I describe this as being knocked down into the muddy mire. There's a mountain up there. We want to get to the top of the mountain because we want to reach paradise. Paradise is at the top of the mountain. We look over and we see a beautiful valley, the most beautiful life we could ever imagine, what we really want in life. And we try to climb this mountain and we fall down, guys. This is going to happen. You're going to fall down. You're going to fall into the mud. You're going to get stuck. You're not just going to fall down. You're probably going to get stuck there. And you have to break free of that mud. You have to break free of it, and you have to start climbing again. It sucks, and you're dirty, and everything's slimy, and the mud just keeps you there. It makes everything heavier. You start getting burdens as you go through life. We get a little older. Our brains start to give out, guys. You can't remember things. Like me, you start getting a little old, and you can't remember. You can't remember where you put your keys, so you have to deal with that. All kinds of things, guys. But then the truth is, though, if you don't stop, you can reach the top of that mountain. And just like Paul just said, it's an adventure. It is an adventure. Hopefully you're going where you want to go. That's important. Trial and error. And you're an experience and level up without even knowing it. Because as you climb the mountain, you get a little stronger and a little stronger and a little stronger. And then one day you're going to reach that. And then you're probably going to see that there's another mountain in the distance. Maybe you want to climb that one. And such is life. Such is the human journey. And I believe this very much. But we We have to be pursuing what we care about, what we're passionate about. I personally believe that we should be um, focused on the things that bring us great joy and that bring our lives that spark of creativity, that spark of passion. Mikey B says, GM Philosophy, thanks for the great live stream. As always, got to bail. Hope to catch you again in the future. Heck yeah, Mikey. See you on the next one. Thank you so much for joining us. William says, sometimes you just got to hit rock bottom. Yes, 100%. Unfortunately, sometimes you do. It really, really is hard. It sucks, but sometimes that's the way it goes. So anyway, on the business side of it, on the day-to-day side of it, starting in the month of March, it's heavy lifting. I think I hope people don't, when I say things like, oh yeah, I'm a pro game master. Oh yeah, I'm a pro content creator. I'm doing this full time now. I hope people don't look at that and think to themselves, "Oh wow, he must be this must be so awesome. He's making so much money. He must be rich now. It must be going so good that he quit his job and now he's making so much more money." It's like, no, it's not really like that. Maybe it is that way for some people, but it's more like I just decided this was the path I was going to go in. This is the mountain I was going to climb, and I just started climbing. And I put in my notice and I left my job at the beginning of March with great risk. There's no guarantee this was going to make it. I had some savings to last me a little while as I get rolling again. But I mean, every month that goes by is another month where if I don't actually do all this work that I've been describing, the money just doesn't come in. The bills just don't get paid. Things just don't work. So there's a survival element to it, right? So there's this concept. Of like burning the boats. So it's like if you really want to succeed at something, you have to burn the boats behind you. So it comes back from that story back in history where the great conqueror brought his army across the ocean to fight the enemy, and they were afraid, and they saw that the enemy is very strong, and they were like, maybe we should retreat. But in order to get that thought even out of their mind, the warrior burned his own boats to say there is no retreat. We either succeed or we die here. There is no turning back. We're now fully committed. And this changed the soldier's mind. It's like, oh no, we have to win, right? And so they go. So there is an element of this in life. Sometimes we're afraid to take a risk because we don't want to burn the boats. Now, it's not that serious. If my business fails, I can go get another job. So there's always like an exit plan. But obviously, I don't want to do that. I want to succeed. But I made it real when I turned in my notice. It's like, uh-oh, this is really happening. It's time for me to get serious about this. And then when you get in it, it's like, uh-oh, it's time to get even more serious because now it's me and the world. I have to succeed at this, right? Paul says, no, you're just chasing your dream and sharing your journey with us. Love it. 100%. Yes, I am chasing my dream and I am sharing with everybody because I think that it is important in this life that we talk about our journey. And I think it's important for other people to see the journey. And I think I'm so thankful for people who have documented their journey and I've watched it and gotten inspiration and knowledge from it. And so I believe it's important. I'm very passionate about it. I love to do it. And I hope it's helpful, right? And if it's not helpful, I'll figure out how to make it more helpful and adjust. Herminator says, for me and my family, right now is the wrong time to financially risk leaving my daytime job to try a full-time passion project income. 100%. That is absolutely something that we all have to take into account. I've had those times in my life too. This is a time I'm a little bit older in life. My kids are older. They are doing their own things. There's a lot more, I would say, freedom in my life that allows me to do this. This is much different than when my kids were young, right? It's very, very different now. There was a time when I would have said the same thing, Herminator, especially as a young parent. Sometimes it's just that way. And we all have to choose what we want. It's also true that some people don't want all that, because what are you really saying when you say, I want to be a full-time pro GM or I want to be a full-time content creator? What you're not just saying, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, I want the benefits of it. But what's not as easy to say is, oh, yeah, I want all the sacrifice and risk. I want all that sacrifice and risk. I want the risk of waking up not having enough money to pay my bills if things go wrong, because at the end of the day, there's nobody writing my paycheck. I have to generate my own paycheck by doing the work. And if for some reason I make the wrong decision at some point, it may not work out, right? So it's like, do you want that risk? Do you really? This is a very valid question to ask on the other side of that. But also, there's an important there's an important statement to be made. If I don't accept that risk, I will never gain that reward. Now, keep in mind, I mean, a lot of times people don't just jump into these things, I don't think, blindly. Like, I didn't jump into this blind. I did a lot of leading up work. I did a lot of testing. I did a lot of market testing. I did a lot of preparation work in preparation for becoming a pro GM, pro content creator, and then turning in my notice to go into it full time, legit. Like, I did a lot of prep work for that. In a way, there was only so much risk. The biggest risk was that, I mean, really the biggest chance of disaster would be if I just stopped doing all the work it requires. That's really the biggest chance of disaster, or that I give out before I get to a more sustainable place. Because in the beginning, it's a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of work. But then things get a little easier as you get the work in and you build the platform and such, right? AWOL Warrior says, taking these kinds of risks is a very different beast when you have loved ones depending on you and your income. Oh yeah, 100%. Got to be careful about that. 100%. William says, for me, I haven't had an hourly job since my 20s, though my photography has been really dead lately, and D&D helped me survive with my pro games, but I'll risk the streets before going back to hourly. That's fair. William says, I need that freedom to work on my goals for growing, but there's lots of risk involved. There is. Paul Bird says, growing social media probably leads to sponsorships. It totally can. I haven't gotten any sponsorships. I don't think I'm big enough. I don't think I have enough traffic to really have people care about sponsoring me for anything, but maybe in the future, 100%. A lot of YouTubers rely on sponsorships as a big part of their income. Yeah, not yet. Yeah, not yet, but we're going to get there. The YouTube channel is growing actually really fast, guys. It's grown I think I've grown by over 200 subscribers in the last 30 days, I think, which is pretty awesome. So we're getting there. And that's just the first month back full time. The channel was put on skeleton crew mode there for most of 2025 as I was dealing with divorce and dealing with life circumstances going on. Job layoff, lots of things led up to me making this decision, preparing for this decision, etc. But anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. And I wanted to just, for anyone watching this, either in the chat now or later on, I just want to give you some inspiration. This hobby, running games, playing D&D, running TTRPGs is very valuable. It's basically empowering a group of individuals to get together to share a creative, intellectual piece of art, ephemeral art with each other that really has meaning, that really can enrich our lives, and it can even lead to personal transformation. I truly believe this. I do not think it's just a game. I think it can be so much more than a game. That's one of the theses I make in my book, The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery. In fact, in the beginning of the book, I kind of give a disclaimer. I know that not everyone wants to take it that seriously. Some people just want to play the game of D&D and have fun. But I personally believe it can be so much more. It can be very fun, but it can also be literally emotionally touching. It can be transformative for our thoughts, for our philosophies. It can help us to think about the world in a different way. It can help us to think about situations, moral complexities, ethics in a different way. It can expose us to situations that we may not see in life very much. And it can even be a little therapeutic, and it can lead to a lot of deeper meaning between people. It's difficult to game with someone for a long time and not become great friends. That's one of the other values that D&D brings to the table. So it's a very worthwhile hobby. And then I think creating content is a very worthwhile thing, because one of the best things that we can do is learn and become better and then share that journey with the world. And in so doing, try to inspire others, try to make the world better give others knowledge, give others motivation, give others education, give them entertainment, whatever it is your channel's doing, right? So I believe that these are both noble ventures. I'm very excited and grateful that I get to wake up and pursue this and put my mind to the task every single day. And with that being said, guys, Mir says, I'd say I'm glad to have been part of this journey that you're going on and that your journey is helping me with my journey to eventually DMing more myself. Absolutely. That is amazing. And Mir, I'm so excited for when you do DM more. I hope you keep us updated in the chat. You've been a part of the Discord for a long time. Super happy to be running with you, my friend. Super happy to have you in the group, in the community. All right, guys, I think that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of GM Philosophy in the Afternoon, guys. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button for me. Leave a comment. Grab my book if you haven't grabbed it already, or one of my other books. Links in the description. Join the GM Philosophy Discord. Hermanators is still waiting on my DM audit. It is coming up, my friend. I've got the file in my coming up video file stuff. Perhaps next week I'll be jumping into it. I'm very excited to do it. I also have to finish Cross Hearts. I am really looking forward to it. It's going to be legitimate awesome. Cannot wait to dive into it. It was a very fun one shot, and who knows, I might even be diving into that more. I've been talking to Stuart a little bit about maybe jumping in on one of his games, doing a little bit of an audit, helping give a little constructive feedback on his onboarding process and stuff. I don't know, guys. I don't know where we're going. We're just going where we go. We're going where it feels natural. Stuart, yeah, I haven't forgotten about it. It's on my list today. It just hasn't I haven't reached it in my to-do list for today. It might be 7 p.m. before I get back to you, but we're getting there. So, guys, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing. I'm experimenting all the time, trying to figure out what does the community need? How can the GM philosopher and GM philosophy actually empower game masters run better games? What can we do? Let's see what we can do. Always open to suggestions, always open to ideas. And I love it when we talk about these things in the community. So, guys, I appreciate you all. Have a great day. Run some awesome games this weekend. I do believe I will be live streaming tomorrow, but I will probably not be live streaming Sunday and Monday. That's probably the schedule we're doing. So, boom, there we go. We'll have to do something crazy for the weekend. Maybe I'll wear a funny hat or something. I don't know. We'll see what goes on. All right, guys, I appreciate you all. Have a great day. Catch you on the next one.